Greetings! Today we're listening to 6 of the most popular drum covers of Smells Like Teen Spirit to ask who played it best. Sometimes on the channel I like to check out a bunch of different drummers playing the same song and try to learn from it. And given that it's the 30-year anniversary of the album Nevermind, I mean, we have to do Smells Like Teen Spirit. Oh, and in case you're wondering, who are you to sit in judgment critiquing other people's drumming? The answer is nobody. But I'll be including my own cover in the mix. Just because I think it's only fair for me to step onto the dance floor myself if I'm going to be critiquing other people's stuff. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to our first cover. Krista Schiano, or Schiano. 5 million views. Great drum sound. Great tuning. Okay, quick comment there. I just did this cover and 2 things. Getting the cymbal levels right and the snare tuning right on the money was difficult, so I didn't even try. But she's obviously got a good mic setup here. Let's go into the verse groove, which is harder than it looks. Perfectly in time, right in the middle of the pocket. Really relaxed too. We open the hats. Nice. Doing that half note, implied half note with the heavy arm on 1 and 3. Here comes the big fill. So she's playing quarters during this, which is interesting. So what's she gonna do for this part? Yep. Quarters on the crash. Here comes the breakdown. Nice. So just a couple of notes here. That verse beat from Dave Grohl is harder than it looks for a few reasons. Among them, the kick drum is a little ahead in the beat. He plays the kick drum a little bit ahead of the beat so that the bass player can lay back. But the snare drum is either right in the center or laid back a little bit. So to me as a jazz player, it was difficult to nail that. The other thing that makes this difficult is the consonnates, and the evenness on the hats. So Krista does both of these really well. Let's rate this. Here at Who Played It Best, we have a 2-part rating system. Number 1 is faithfulness to the original. How closely did the cover stay to what the original drummer played? Number 2 is the higher weighted thing, which is what I call subscore. It's how good would Nirvana sound if this person jumped in and, well, 20 years ago. Anyway, Krista Schiano, faithfulness to the original, I'm going to give her a 9.5. I know that's strong right off the bat, but she really knocks it out of the park. Drum sounds, drum mix, time, placing the beats right, faithfulness to Dave's original fills. Subscore, likewise, I'm going to give her a 9.5. Super solid, tough act to follow. Anyway, moving right along for our next cover, we've got Colm Dowling. Right into it. It's got those in-ears. Like the kit. Snares tuned perfectly. Those Zildjianés sound great. Really even on the kick and snare. Okay, stop it here for just a second. So to talk about the difficulty of this, on the verse, his kick drum beat sounds a little bit swung. It's a little bit doot doot ba, doot doot ba. I think it's funky, I like it, but it's not exactly what Dave Grohl played. This is nitpicking because this cover is awesome, but I'm illustrating this because I went through it yesterday, and you'll see my cover in a minute. Let's continue. The beat's got a great dance to it though. Nice and relaxed. Open hats. Go to that quarter note feel. He's accenting the quarters on the open hats now. Hitting both cymbals on the downbeats. Ooh, nice choice on the kick. Here we go. Now the second half, the louder part. Yep. Quarters on the crash. And the breakdown. Okay, so that breakdown is interesting and there are ways to embellish it, but there's an exact way that Dave Grohl played it, which is, let's just roll a little bit of my cover because I copied him verbatim here. So Colm not only nails that, but he also adds some flair. He's got the stick twirl. He's hitting multiple times at once. Other nice thing about this cover is that if you hear verse and chorus, intro, verse, and chorus, you pretty much have heard all you need to hear, so let's grade this. Okay, for Colm, we need to rate him likewise very high. There are no weak drummers in today's lineup as usual. For faithfulness to the original, I'm going to give him a 9.5 as well. Very, very close to what Dave Grohl played. Great drum tuning, great cymbal selection, great touch, attention to detail. For sub score, it's close, it's close. I'm going to give him a 9.0. There's a little bit of lilt on the kick drum, and I felt like the drum sounds weren't quite as clean as Krista's. This is really, really nitpicky stuff here. Now let's take a look at a couple of things that make the verse more difficult to play than it seems. So on the surface, the verse to Smells Like Teen Spirit seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Etc. And it is simple in a sense, but there are bigger ways to get it wrong than you might think. So I want to cue you into two things that makes the way Dave Grohl is playing this beat pretty special. The first is, if you think about the center of the beat, he's playing the kick drum right at the front of that. So it's not late. Don't be late on the kick. But he's playing the snare either in the dead center or even laid back a little bit. So don't be early with the snare. The other thing is those kick notes have to be really straight eighths. They're not kind of swung, right? It's very straight. So a good way to practice this would be quarters on the hats, play the kick drum pattern first, make sure it's not late. In the time that it takes your foot to contact the pedal, to contact the kick drum, you want to initiate that early enough that the sound is hitting your eardrums at the front of the beat. So you just do this and then you add the snare drum and you add the snare drum in the middle of the beat. Don't overthink it, but don't underthink it. 3, 4. That's it. Ain't no thing. Just want to make sure that kick drum doesn't sound early and that snare doesn't sound late. Thanks, Drum Nate. Anyway, on to our third drum cover, and this is one I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with, Al Stipario Siberiano. We're about to watch Siberiano. I know it's going to be killer. I know he's going to do something different too. Let's see what he throws at us. Okay, interesting, in a studio. So he's got the slotted cymbal. A shorter than usual intro. The snare drum with the 5-pound weight plate on it, as always. He's so in it, he's singing along. What are those, 14-inch Meinl hats there? Doing a little extracurricular embellishment on the cymbals there. Here it comes. Chorus. Using light cymbals, which respond really quickly. The other thing is in the mix, Dave's drums are really trashy, and Siberiano's duplicating that acoustically with these trashy cymbals. And breakdown. Perfect. Listen to where he's putting the kick and the snare. I think we've heard enough of that one. So things that stick out to me about this, he's using the trashy cymbals to kind of acoustically duplicate what Dave Grohl and Nirvana did in the mix with that really trashy sort of lo-fi sound. It was really, really difficult to duplicate for me. Also, he's nailing that kick snare placement in the verse, which is one of the most difficult parts. Nailed the breakdown. It's Siberiano. Of course, he's going to do it great. Let's grade this. Okay, for Siberiano, faithfulness score. Remember, this one doesn't have as much weight. Ultimately, it's going to be sub-score that decides it. Faithfulness score, I'm going to give it a 9.3. And the reason why is he took some liberties, but they were good liberties. Sub-score, I'm going to give him a 9.55. You'll understand why that's important later. Anyway, now that I've critiqued 3 other people's playing, I think it's time for me to throw my own hat in the mix. Here's my cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit. Anyway, do with that what you may. For our next cover, we've got the world famous Cooper Drummer. This is from 2012. Jesus, 4 million views. It's a young Cooper Drummer. It's got the twirls. Oh yeah. There's some extracurricular twirls there. Interesting choice on the hats. Zildjian's, another great cymbal choice for this. He's got those skateboarder arms. He looks like he skates. Maybe it's just from drumming. Wouldn't surprise me. I need to drum harder. And chorus. He's able to play with a lot of energy and volume and stay relaxed. It almost looks athletic. Quarters on the crash. And breakdown. Let's pause that. Interesting on the breakdown. Sounds really good. I wonder if he'd do the same thing today. I wonder if he'd make the same choice today. Let's continue on to second chorus because I want to listen to that kick drum and hat placement on the chorus. Okay, so one thing to notice is regardless of what he's doing on the hats, the kick is in the right spot. It's just a little ahead of the beat and the snare's right in the middle of the beat. Also, the tuning is really good. And interestingly, he's got a piccolo. So we got that thick, like 14x6 brass or steel Dave Grohl sound out of a little piccolo. So that's awesome. The hi-hat embellishment, I wonder if he'd make that same choice today. I have a question. Casey, if you're out there, let me know. Excellent cover, obviously. Let's grade this. Okay, faithfulness to the original. Like Siberiano, gonna go 9.3. Taking some liberties. Again, some musical choices that I like, but I wonder if he'd make today. Subscore, likewise gonna go at 9.3. Remember, this is Casey from like 2012. Volume great, energy great. I know if he played it today, it would be even better. An excellent cover from Casey. Anyway, now let's quickly talk about what we mean when we say the breakdown. So now let's talk about the breakdown section of Smells Like Teen Spirit, which of course is bow, dow, 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 and bow, 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 bow. Right? So Dave Grohl plays something really specific here. It's a part that people doing these covers have either copied or they haven't. So let's go over how that goes. 3, 4. Bow. Bow. Right now that you hear that, it's familiar to everybody. Everybody kind of knows it. So the first part, so double kick, and then you leave that beat 4 empty. And then the second half, you can play the hats with either hand. You can go, I just like to hit it with the left because it's less distance to travel. It echoes the famous fill that begins the tune, right? So that's that. Keep that in mind when we're judging these covers, and you'll see how some artists play it literally, some artists acknowledge it, and some artists kind of gloss over it a little bit, like they're not sure it exists. And that's the breakdown. Got it? Anyway, let's keep it moving. Our next cover comes from somebody called Maytal. Let's give it a listen. This is Maytal. Don't know anything about her. This has got 3.9 million views. And here we go. Ooh, soul tone. Great snare tuning. These big hats sound perfect. Locking right up with the kick. Did she keep Dave's original drumming in this track? It sounds like she's playing along with Dave. Jealous of her cymbals. And chorus. Back in the posit. I feel like she could put a little more weight through her strokes. And it's not a body size thing because Krista Schiano did it. One thing I'm noticing here is like she could commit a little more to the downbeats. Let's continue. Really good relaxed playing posture though. Breakdown. Almost perfect on the breakdown. Okay, her touch and her volume level work really well on the verse, and her lockup with the kick drum and the snare is almost perfect. There was one spot in the first verse where it deviated a little bit, got a little rushy, but otherwise it's almost perfect. I think she would sound even better if she had another level of volume that she could bring during the chorus. And a lot of that, it's not about body strength, because she clearly has it. It's just about bringing the sticks up higher, letting the weight of your arms bring them down. And hardly anybody better at that than Mr. Casey Cooper. Anyway, let's grade this. So for Maytal, excellent, excellent drumming. For faithfulness to the original, I'm gonna go 9.2. For subscore, I'm gonna go a 9 flat. Remember, this is 9 out of 10. Any of these people could jump in and sound amazing. I think in 2 or 3 years, when she develops a little more volume, she'll sound even better. Anyway, last but not least, the man who won our last round of Who Played It Best. Rage Against the Machine's Killing in the Name. If you're a fan of the channel, you know, of course, I'm talking about the one and only Mr. John Sudano. So here we go with John Sudano. Expecting great things from you, John. Yeah! How is cymbal spinning? So, a couple quick observations. He mimics Dave Grohl's a little bit of lilt and swing in the chorus. He doesn't rush the whole beat. He keeps the phrase in time. He's also doing a little bit swung on the kick drum in the verse. Don't, instead of just interesting artistic choice. Let's go on. The other thing is he's accenting the quarters a little bit, which is another interesting choice. I'm not sure if Dave completely did that. Let's go on. Yeah. How do those cymbals keep spinning? And chorus. Come on, John, bring the volume, baby. Oh, yeah. Wait, is he hitting him with both hands? That's crazy. I'm surprised he didn't play the breakdown exactly like Dave. Needless to say though, when it comes to artistic choices, if John Sudano does it, it's probably right. Okay, let's grade. Okay, John Sudano, faithfulness to the original. 9.2, taking some liberties, and I think in some ways I like the way he plays it. Subscore. Really, really close with some of the other drummers. Gonna give it a 9.3, which means we've got a tie. We've got a tie between Chris Desciano and Al Stipario. And given that this is a completely arbitrary subjective judgment, I'm gonna break that tie and declare the winner, Chris Desciano. If you're looking through YouTube, you can only find one cover that really does justice to the tune. Gets deep inside it, I gotta go with Chris's. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the top 5 drum covers of Smells Like Teen Spirit on YouTube. Happy anniversary to Nevermind. Shouts out to the great Dave Grohl. And dudes, I imagine you'll have different opinions than I have. And if they're polite, I invite you to leave those in the comments below. Finally, If you've enjoyed this lesson, you feel like you might be ready to take your plan a little deeper, you've been lurking, you feel like you might be ready to study with me, I recommend my course, the 80/20 Coaching Course, which is like 6 to 9 months of studying with me, all for around the price of a single lesson. But today we're going to keep it free. I'm going to give you something for free. You want to get on my exclusive mailing list so you can hear about the next time we're launching the coaching course, and also get 3 free mini courses that'll improve your drumming more in the next 3 weeks than it's improved in the previous 6 months. I invite you to click below the player, enter your email address in on the next page, and I'll send those to you for free. Dudes, it's been real. Always enjoy these. See you again soon on another lesson of the week. Smells like take 5.
Helping every neighbor live greener.
Oh.
From clean heating and cooling to LED.
Who needs a cover when we got this? Oh, this dude.